There you
Oops.
go. I think I
Here,
see it.
here it goes. I've not had texts or any kind of messages all day. Okay, now I have to mute it or that will drive me nuts.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I
Oh,
know.
now you can see me. No, my video's not on. That's here I am.
There it is. Yes, I can
And
see you.
look, I'm in my son's room because in my office there's no air conditioning and it is 102 in Kentucky.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I was like, make sure there's nothing behind me that's obscene.
I know. It's a different scene. That's okay. I don't blame you. I'd
So
be sitting in there too if that were the temp.
there we go. So I just try to turn. I don't know if anybody is here. There's Brenda. Hi,
And
Miss Brenda. Awesome. All right, let me get us recording on the cloud. Oh, that was another new button I learned.
looks
See,
like it's recording. Oh, yep.
yeah, I wanted to make you a co-host just in case.
Yeah.
Learned
Just
that the
in
hard
case. Yeah.
I've learned that the hard way. Okay, we are live and ready. First of all, I'm going to say your first name. I can say it. Nikki, I got you. But that last name you're going to have to do for me because I
Yeah.
don't know how to do that one.
It's Uhlenhake.
Is that German?
Uhlenhake. Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
So I get that all the time.
That's
And
okay.
so
I'm just going to call you Nikki anyway.
just call me Nikki U. Yes.
Nikki, you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, to give a little bit of an intro, we ran into each other simply because we use the same accountant, and we were both interviewed on her. I forgot what she calls her interviews, but just talking to people that's in business and that have learned how to benefit their business with taxes, and that's how you and I connected. So you made a comment that really struck my attention. Is you said she literally saved your business because of the taxes. And tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So
Well, tell me about you and then tell me about that.
yeah, sure. I'll give you a little intro about me. I was actually a brick and mortar business owner for 8 years. I was a hairstylist for 15, had my own salon for 8 years. And it was the all American dream, right? Everybody, oh, it must be great to own your own business, set your own hours. Um, and it was fantastic until someone came to me with the vision of marketing.
Mhm.
And at that time, I had been in business for almost 8 years. And, there were so many great things about being your own business owner. But when you are servicing people with your hands physically, you make money when you're there. You have a lot of overhead. And, for me, it really wasn't an option to hire one or two employees. People always said, why don't you hire a couple more? Because I was booked up for the last 4 years. I didn't take new customers. Um, but for me, it really wasn't going to be worth the headache to have to hire a couple of people, pay
Yeah,
more in taxes, what I thought,
yeah.
um, for the extra headache, I guess. And so someone came to me with marketing, and I immediately said, no, that's not for me. I dislike sales. I even said that when I did hair. I hated selling hair product, but it was really a mind shift set for me. Even when I did hair, it was, Nikki, these people need these products. This lady has curly hair, and if you do not recommend this product, her hair is going to be out to here. She has to have it. She needs it. She needs you to share that with her because she doesn't know. And so that really for me in sales was that mind shift of, I need to share something that is going to help someone, that is going to change someone's life because they don't know if I don't share it with them.
That's
And
right.
so that's where it all kind of shifted for me. I found marketing. I found a product that I absolutely loved, and I wanted to share it. I did that while I was still a brick and mortar business owner. It exploded. It brought me home. My husband is also his own business owner. He has been for 5 years. We live in Iowa. He sprays the corn, just to give you the short term. So he pretty much works spring to fall, and we don't
Yeah.
see him. And then in the winter, we snowmobile. We have all the fun for 4 months. But again, even with him, and we've kind of been talking about that too. With him, he's tied down like I was in that brick and mortar business. We were both self-employed. It was amazing versus being a W-2 employee, being told what to do and not ever being able to take time off. But we're kind of envisioning something bigger for him in the future too, of allowing more time and financial freedom, because we were kind of capping ourselves out as well in the brick and mortar. You do have tax benefits, but you also, like I just mentioned, you have a lot of overhead. Marketing can allow you something more. You can make $1,000 a month. You can make $200,000 a month. You really can cap yourself out wherever your belief system sits with whatever system you're currently working. And you can do it from vacation. You can do it from sitting on the beach. You can do it from your home. You can do it while you're a passenger in the car. Do it all from your phone with zero overhead for the most part. So that's where I kind of got, I was seeking someone who was going to be more of a tax planner, not just an accountant who was going to plug in my numbers. I needed someone to work for me. And I started watching Courtney's lives. I was connected to her through marketing, another gal in another company. And I listened to her and I said to my husband, let's have a strategy appointment with her. I like the guy that we're with right now, but I just feel something's pulling on my heart and telling me that she's our girl. She's going to plug in things that we don't even know exist. And he's a very black and white person. And he's like, Niki, she lives in South Carolina. We live in Iowa. You're just going to send her all of our information? I'm like, yeah, we're going to do that. And we don't have to commit to her, but let's just see if she would do anything different that would make a difference for our future. And we did that. And little did we know, we had our taxes sitting in our filing cabinet, but we don't know how to look at them. She looked at it and she said, it was close to a 6-figure gain that we had on our taxes that was actually a loss. But our previous accountant had put it in as a gain and we paid taxes on it. We didn't know. It was actually a loss. And so she said that to us. We paid her the $99 to strategize. I said, we don't have to hire her. Let's just see. That's all we have to do. We don't know what we don't know. And so again, in marketing, we just open up our eyes to so many things of you have to find out for yourself. You have to dive in and dig in. You don't have to commit, but you need to find out things that your livelihood depends on. So anyway, she saved us a huge write-off that was actually meant to be a write-off, not a gain. And we pulled that over. We amended our last year's taxes and we pulled that into the following year for a write-off. And so that's where our journey with Courtney started last fall in September. And my husband, needless to say, is so thankful. Yeah. And that's kind of where we got started with Courtney. And that's where I connected with you. So we've been with her about 9 months. And in this, the last 9 months, we have learned so much and are benefiting so much. And I just want to share it with the world.
And I talk about taxes all the time because people don't, like you said, they don't know what they don't know. And the biggest thing that hurts me the most is when I see people saying they're not making any money, but yet they're not tracking what they can track. And so they're losing money. They're literally laying it on the table for somebody else to pick up. And when I learned that, it was kind of like, okay, I'm not the tax girl. I don't know how to do this. I got to find the one. And I was like you. I loved the girl that was doing our taxes, super sweet. And she knew I was network marketing. She did well, but I was still paying too much taxes. Like she had my quarterly set up at almost $5,000 a quarter. And I'm like, that doesn't sound right. And, you come over here and Courtney refigures things. And she's like, why were you sending in that much of your money that you could be using over here? It's like you felt like you were just working to pay taxes. And so I'm like you, she opened my mind to things that I had no idea.
She did, and that's the thing is even, the $99 tax strategy appointment
boom.
is a write-off.
Yeah.
Okay. You can write that off, but to give yourself a peace of mind. The other thing is, she said, where's your guys' home office write-offs? And we said, well, they're in there. We gave it to them. She said, no, you didn't write anything off for that.
Oh
So
no.
again, what you don't know is what you don't know. We were paying someone that we trusted,
Mm,
we knew, we liked.
yeah.
He was a great person. But at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it doesn't matter the person. This is a business. And if you want
Yes.
to save your livelihood, you want to do everything to your knowledge and your power. You have got to look out for yourself. You've got to find that education. You've got to, and that's me. I want to educate other people with
Yeah.
what I'm learning, because there are so many benefits to this, or even for that W-2 employee on the side. But if you're not being educated on that, how will you ever know?
And people, there's a fear factor when you say the word government or taxes or anything related to money. People freak out, and they're overly cautious, and that is something that Courtney was one of the things that really resonated. Was she said, I've got 20 years behind me and I've never been audited. And I'm like, that's a good thing. And so I want all of my benefits. I want everything that I can get out of my business. I don't want to work and just keep working to just pay another bill. And that's exactly where I was. So, yeah, we hired her for 2019. So that was March. We put all that in, and this corona thing showed up, which has made everything a nightmare. Not a nightmare, just slow. But
Yeah.
yeah, that is just something I think that people completely miss,
You
is
know,
how to take care of the back end of business. They can sell the products, the back end they can't.
and that's just it. Unless you go to school for these things, unless you go to school for finances, high school, you don't learn a lot about money. If your
No.
parents didn't teach you much about money, you're pretty much on your own to go do your own education on that. And, like I said, an accountant, that's their job. So 99% of people believe that if they're paying someone, a professional, that they're in good hands. They
Mhm.
don't know any different. That would be like me being a hairstylist telling someone, if you put this on your hair, it will fall out. Then that person's not going to put that on their hair because I
Yep.
told them it was going to fall out. They didn't do their own research. They trusted the person that was the professional that they were paying money for, as you would think that would be the case. It is not the case.
Yeah.
And so many people, like, they love being their own business owner, they love marketing.
Mhm.
How much more could they love it if they actually knew tax code?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like Courtney said, there is really no tax code for the W-2 employee. It is what it is. So if
Straight
you're a
up.
W-2 employee, you're a W-2 employee. You don't get any benefits. If
Nope.
you are a, big business owner, you're going to have more overhead. That's a little bit different. So that kind of that in between small business owner, marketing business owner, where you can work that business from your home and cut out all of those the overhead. And some people will say, well, if you don't have any overhead, then you have to pay all this money in taxes with what you make. You have a cell phone bill, you have an internet bill, you have a home office, you have a car, you have mileage, you have medical insurance. You have all of those things that you're already buying anyway, but you're paying taxes on it.
Yep. You're not doing anything different. It's all the exact same thing. You're just giving it a different name. That's
You're
it.
giving it a different name. And
Yeah.
you're right, it's that fear. And fear is something that's made up, from our subconscious minds.
Mhm.
We believe what we're told, what we're educated on, and instead of taking the time, because here's what I found, most people don't have the time to go do their own research. So they're going to find someone that they either pay money to or that they know, like, and trust. And I'm not getting paid to teach people about taxes. I'm just referring the message. I'm relaying the message from someone that I know, like, and trust. So
That's
the
it.
more that we can put this out there, the more we can help others change their lives by just relaying that message. We've already connected with people that know, like, and trust us. So why not give them that education? Because you can learn something all day long, but if you're not sharing it with the world, you're not changing the world. and Courtney can only reach so many people. So if we help her, reach even more people, that's where people's lives are truly going to be, changed.
When I met her, she was having an interview. She was at Eric Worre's house, I believe, and they
Yeah.
were doing a live. And when he was awestruck, when his jaw dropped, I was like, oh, she's done impressed this man. He makes way more than I do. So she's doing his account and she's doing mine. And so I just feel like I needed somebody that was in my field that understood our network. And it is just the number one thing I want people to understand is once you sell a kit or a product or whatever and you become a business person, you immediately have $8,000 worth of deductions straight up immediately. And I hear people all the time tell me I don't have any deductions, and I'm like, yes, you do. Please listen to this video. Please listen to this. Read this book. I probably sell as many of her books as she does because I tell everybody, get this book. It's a must. You have to have it. But just that knowledge is just, I just can't say enough about it because people are giving well, we see what the government does with our money. Why should they have it? You're doing the work. Why should they have it? I want them to have as little as they can possibly get.
Yeah, and Courtney will say legally, morally, and ethically. Okay, it's not he said, she said. This is tax code. So you can choose to believe it
Yeah.
and use it to your advantage, or you can choose to think that it's not accurate and you can lose money. That's up
And
to
you
you.
And you can go, there is a website for the government that you can go and take the time if you want and read each and every, it's all there. She can give you the exact line of where it is so that you see that it's something that you can literally claim. And then there's those words that, some of that stuff is written in terms that I don't understand.
Yeah.
And so that's where you need somebody who gets that conversation and knows what they're talking about. And I just find it so interesting that taxes and money, even though you get into a business to make money, that's the last thing that people learn. And that should be the first thing on our list.
It is, but again, we just hand it off. It's one of the most important things, but we hand it off to someone. And if we think we're paying someone to do it, that's all we need to do. Then we write it off and we don't worry about it. We pay someone because we don't want to worry about it. We pay
Yeah.
them and we call it a day thinking that they've got it all handled.
Yeah.
And, you used to be a W-2 employee as well,
Sure.
right? You were a
Sure.
nurse or
Yep.
in that field.
30 years worth.
So if and when you're a W-2 employee, you didn't really ever have any reasons to look further
Mm-mm.
into accounting. You didn't have any reasons or anyone telling you, look, you're entitled to X, Y, and Z.
Yep.
You didn't have that. So in the marketing world, again, there's so many benefits to marketing, but in this world, you get so educated on things that you have never even, talked to anyone about. No one's ever brought it to your attention.
Yep.
These are things that are so beneficial. And like I said, your livelihood could depend on it.
Yeah.
So if you don't take the time, find someone who is credible, that is trying to help you by pouring out value so
Yeah.
that, we're sharing this to help you and educate you and let you know that you are entitled to that legally. And
Yeah.
Courtney says, I would not put my livelihood, what I've built on the stands just to save you a couple $1,000s in taxes.
Exactly.
This is
Exactly.
tax code. So rest assured that this is the case. But Courtney said too, she loves to speak, she loves to do all those things. She's the only one that educates on this. So she was not going to give up her accounting practice because nobody else in the world is teaching what she is teaching.
Yeah.
So she is selflessly, continuing that part of her business to help other people understand because there isn't anyone else out there educating the way she is.
Nope. And that was super. We had this, she and I had this conversation is, most people see themselves as just this one thing. I'm just an accountant. She became a teacher of what she knows. And that's the same thing as everybody else. We have this knowledge of what we do now, but we forget to teach what we know. And if you don't share it, people just don't know. They're not going to ask you questions because they don't know they need it. So, but when she started doing that and she, had her own group and had her own email list, all the things that anybody has a skill that they can sell, literally.
It's so true. It's so true. And most of what she learned, she said it wasn't in your traditional college. She didn't learn anything she's teaching today in college. She got self-educated. She dug deeper because she wanted to help more people. And in my opinion, you'll never meet anyone in marketing. People want to help people. That's why we do what we do. We want to help. And I'm not just Niki. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a learner, I'm a teacher, I'm an educator, I'm all these things. I'm a marketer, I'm all these things.
Yeah.
But you can't just be one thing. Don't be defined as one thing. Take the things that you learn and pour that out onto others, because there's nothing better than someone reaching out to you and saying, "Hey, thank you so much for sharing that. I never knew that." And if you had not taken the time to share that out of your free will, it didn't cost me a dime to share the information that I'm sharing. I'm paying money for it anyway. So share that and pour into other people and pour into their hearts. And when you get that message from someone that just says, thank you so much, that's going to inspire you to keep on learning and digging for yourself so that you can keep on pouring that into other people as well.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Brenda, you got any questions? She says no. She's working and listening at the same time.
Oh yeah. Is Brenda, are you a marketer and W-2 employee, or?
Yes, I am both. I'm even just a step maybe more skeptical than a lot of people because I've been a W-2 employee for so long, but I also work for a government agency, and my employment depends on my taxes being paid and being paid correctly. So therefore, it's like I need to do my own homework and learn and trust. But definitely, this is the first time I've heard about the $99 deal, or even being able to have just a conference with her to look at it, to tell me what she's thinking. And that to me sounds like security, because she can give me input and then I have something to go with. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, you should schedule one. She is a wealth of knowledge. In 15 minutes, she'll blow your mind.
Yeah, I mean, she already sounds amazing. And yes, that's what networking is. It's all about everybody helping everybody, finding that connection for the best out there. And I like that. So yeah, I still have not done my taxes yet this year.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
It's not too late then.
They're done. We just haven't turned them in yet, because I'm like, I know we're missing stuff.
Are you doing them yourself?
Yeah, we have done them ourselves for years.
You're losing money.
I'm sure I am. And my hesitation is more like, I just don't know where to put everything. Yeah. So, we keep all of our receipts for all of our training, all of our miles, all of our, I have not done the cell phones yet. I have not done the internet yet. I know, but it's just
do you have children under 18? Is it 18 or 16, Angela, that they're tax free?
It's 18.
Our daughter is 27, so.
I was going to say her babies are grown.
I know, but I am very interested in that aspect, that I can pay her to do some of my social media.
I was going to say, but as a 27-year-old, you can still hire her, but it's a different benefit for 18 and under. Like, I could have hired Milo, but because he's already 16 and a half, there was going to be more paperwork than it was going to be worth to do. Now, if I'd have done it 2 or 3, 4 years ago, it'd have been totally different. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I'm paying him anyway. And so now he's joined the business with me. So he has his own deductions, which is pretty stinking cool.
Yeah, that was the other big thing, was the children. She said, "Do you have kids?" And I said, "Yeah, we have one. He's almost 12. She said, why isn't he on payroll? And I said,
I don't know.
I don't know. Why isn't he? I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. And, she's like, Well, you can pay him $12,000 a year, tax free. You write off $12,000. You hire him. He works for you, and then he buys his clothes. He buys his bed. He buys his dresser. He buys all of his sporting goods. He buys all of that stuff because guess what? You're buying that anyway. So why not write it off? But you cannot write it off if you're not on payroll.
Yep.
Okay. Why don't you have an S corp? You guys, this was probably the biggest one, the S corp.
That was mine.
And I'm like, because again, this was like, it was instilled in our brains. So my husband has his own business. I had mine. We specifically to the banker, to our attorney, someone else. I had one friend of mine. I used to cut his hair. He had his own construction business and he said, get an S corp. And I said, everybody keeps telling me not to, that it's a headache. And then you have to have meetings once a month. And then it's just a lot of work. And we'd be better off not just do an LLC.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll do an LLC to protect ourselves, So she said, why don't you have an S corp? Do you make over $1,000 a month? And I said, yeah. She said, why doesn't your husband have an S corp? Why don't you have an S corp? I said, because people told us not to. They told us we should just have an LLC. And she said, you are bypassing self-employment tax of 15% when you have an S corp. Okay, so let's just, for example, say, Brenda, you're making $100,000 this year. You have $50,000 in write-offs. So that would leave you paying taxes about 30% with an LLC or just in a sole proprietorship on $50,000. Well, guess what? When you have an S corp, you bypass by 20%. So you pay yourself 20% of that, which is $10,000 of $50,000. Now you pay taxes on $10,000 instead of $50,000.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What?
Huge.
What? So, we had to be on payroll. I'm on payroll. My husband's on payroll. My son's on payroll. It's $50 a month for each of us to process it. My husband too, he's like, well, that's $150 a month. And but it's $10,000 for the year, Oh yeah. So you got to really break it down and go, that's worth it. And guess what? That $150 a month just for payroll is a write-off. And then you're paying taxes on $10,000 instead of $50,000. Yeah. I mean, why has no one ever told me this?
Yes.
Especially, you guys, we specifically asked attorneys. We specifically asked our accountant. Yeah. We specifically asked people that are educated professionals if we should have S corps or LLCs, and we were told no 3 times.
Yes.
So we did not.
Yes, because I had my accountant, I was asking her, what do I need to do for an S corp? And she says, well, I wouldn't really think you'd want to do all that. And I'm like, well, do I need to have my own payroll? And she's like, why don't you just roll money over to a savings account or something? And I'm like, I don't think that's what I mean. I was looking at the deduction part of it because I had enough sense to know where there was some deductions in there, but I didn't realize how big of a percentage it was and how it knocked my overall, what I was paying, down. So this year is going to look way different, and I'm really excited about that. I'm still doing the quarterly taxes. That looks different. What I've got sitting in my account looks different from years past. And so, yeah, S corp, LLC, S corp, payroll, it's worth everything. Everybody looks at their overall income going, well, I'm not there yet. I'm not big enough yet. Oh, yes, you are. If you make $1,000 a month, you're ready, period.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I just hate watching people lose so much of their money, because there's other things in life we would like to do, and that's not give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
So
good.
Think about that, Brenda. Think about that. It's huge, and it will not affect your W-2 job at all. It's legal. It's ethical. Schedule a strategy with her. You won't regret it. You really won't.
Well, and Brenda, too, your side hustle literally works in conjunction. I honestly, from what I've learned, I feel as though the W-2 employee that has the side hustle can benefit the most from this.
Yeah.
Because if you're attempting to earn that income, my friend's over here making $50,000. She's paying taxes on that regardless, but she's over here now she's got write-offs. She's got $15,000 in write-offs. Well, that comes off your 50,000, and now you pay the government 35,000 on your W-2. And, and that's just from attempting to earn income over here. So, I want people to know too, that you don't have to quit your day job. You can continue that, but by adding something in, you can totally change your life.
Yeah,
And
because I
it's
started in
all,
2010 and I didn't retire from nursing until 2014. I mean, I would have still been there, except there was some other things that kept me right on moving.
I bet you were wishing that you would have known Courtney for those 4 years while you were working W-2 and you were working
Yeah.
your side hustle, building that side hustle.
Yep.
That could have made such an impact on
Yeah,
those 4 years. And maybe that you could have turned that into 2 years instead of 4 years, who knows?
exactly. Well, and there was one year that I wrote a physical check for $17,000. That was the most painful check. And I just kept looking at it going, I know this belongs to me. And so she's going to look back over my last 3 years and see what can be amended.
Yeah, have her look at those, because we
Yeah.
did the same thing. We amended because we needed that. We needed that gain that we paid taxes on.
Yeah.
We upgraded equipment. That equipment is not cheap. We did not gain money on that piece of equipment. We
No.
lost. And
Yeah.
we paid taxes because it was input. It was put in the position of a gain. And so, I don't know. It's just so crazy how I look back now too, and I think, oh my gosh, had I not been in, networking, had I not been with my first company, I wouldn't have met that coach
Yep.
that I hired. If I hadn't met that coach that I had hired, I wouldn't have met Courtney.
Yes.
Had I not met Courtney, the business that I'm doing now, I would be struggling if I had an LLC with my current business now, if
Yes.
I did not have Courtney.
Absolutely.
And so it's just so crazy looking back and connecting the dots and knowing that you're being put in a position, you're being given this information today.
Yeah.
And you can do it, with it what you choose. But even like you said, that strategy appointment, do a strategy appointment, and whatever's on your heart after that, you can follow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But the worst thing you can do is be afraid of your money.
Yeah. And
We
there's
work
nothing
too
to be
hard.
afraid of. Like she said the other day on my live, she said, I'm not going to promise you that you're not going to get an audit. So what if you get an audit? It's your word against theirs. And if they say you can't do that, then you don't do it the next year. You're not going to jail.
Right.
But
Right.
what's worse? So we've got this fear. We've got this, I'm going to go to prison. No, you're not. No, you're not. They will say you can't do that. You show them why you can. Like Courtney said, you're attempting to earn an income with that. So I believe it's a write-off. You agree
Exactly.
to disagree and you move on. But what's the worst thing that could happen?
I would rather have to deal with that once than to just keep paying out, because I have made a lot of money in this industry, and just in 10 years, I'm thinking if I'd had her 10 years ago, what would I have in my account? Crazy when I try not to think about that.
Don't
actually.
think about it.
It's like,
Don't
just
think about that. And just know that, having comfort and joy moving forward, knowing how secure and comfortable you're going to be sitting now because of that. That is just enough to be excited about, because I always tell people we're never promised tomorrow. So what we do today is going to make a difference for tomorrow or the next 5 or 10 or 30 years that we have left on this earth. And we don't ever want to look back and wish that we had done it, especially if someone educated us on it and we chose not to,
So I just thank you for jumping on here with me. This has been a fast half hour, but I just hope anybody that's listening to our voice today, that you are brave enough to check into that. Reach out to Courtney Epps. It's EPPS.com. She has a book. You can get her book and, read into that. You can do a strategy call with her. But if you're in business, by all means, make sure that your taxes are doing you a favor instead of being another job, because if it's not done correctly, all you're doing is paying another bill, and that should be helping your family do what you want to do instead of paying a bill. So
good. Thank you, ladies, so much for
I
having me. I
appreciate you.
appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Goodbye.
Thank you, Brenda. Bye, y'all.